Hello, in this video I'm going to create an assessor. I'm going to select the qualifications they can deliver, and I'm also going to move a learner that's been given to another assessor to this new one that I'm creating. The learner hasn't gone live yet, but it shows you how, in the event of you need to move a learner for one reason or another, how to do it. So I'm logging in as a super user. At this level I have authorization to go in at various levels. So here's my login page. I'm going to go to Tools, Users. This is my test center, and here's the center within. So on a previous video I'd already created the file system, and to get to that I will click the purple bar. I'm not going to, even though I'm creating an assessor and a verifier actually, I am not going to add them here because they will sit outside of the folders. So it would look like if I created them here, they are directly underneath or directly parallel with the super users and center admins I will create. So instead we create a hierarchy system. So I click the purple bar and you'll see there I've got folders already created. And I can just click Add User and what user type. And because of the level I'm logged in as, which is super user, I can create a whole raft of different people and positions and rankings. So I'll select Internal Verifier and Continue. Then gives me the option to go in here and create them. Password, as usual, as it's the initial time they're being created, I have used ABC123, and they will be prompted as soon as they go in to change it. For the purpose of creating staff or users, it's advisable not to use their home address. It's better to use the actual address of the center they are working for. Again, even though on the postcodes you have the space, on the numbers please make sure that there are no spaces. Now that's their details all completed. In this part it's the details of them being a verifier. So what type are they? So for the purpose of this exercise, they're fully qualified. If they were working towards, then you'll be asked to who for the various information that you would normally be asked if it was a verifier that hadn't fully achieved their qualifications. The purpose of this, it's fully qualified, they work for the center, and you'll notice there where you can change details. Should they leave, you can select no longer working for the center. Their qualification, if they're working towards it, that's where you then would need to have it secondary verified. Their registration, or number, which is registered. See, the option there, verify, is grayed out. Now if I'd have said on there working towards, it ungrays that and lets me pick one of the other verifiers. But as I've said, for the purpose of this, they are awarded. When they started with you, their target achievement date, they're not essential at this part to get them live on the system. But what is required is their qualification title and the day they received it. You'll notice here it's got a sample rate, but that can, for the purpose of the verifier, that can be left there. You'll notice here is the options. Now this is the actions that you, as an administrator or super user or someone with authority, can decide what permissions this verifier has. And you have the same process for the assessor. So for this, if you just want them to do the basic IV role, you just tick that box. If you want to give them additional access, be it for viewing reports, and edit assessor or trainer details, then you can tick those boxes. If you have a verifier that is also an assessor, you do not click both boxes. If they're assessor and verifier, they'll be given separate logins. This is to ensure there is no confusion when they log in as to who they're logged in as. It keeps both roles completely separate. So we've created our verifier at this stage. You'll click Save. And you'll notice at the top, we now have, up the top there, we now have Anderson J6. So that is going to be their login. And that is Anderson, as I say, Anderson is their surname, J is their initial, then 06. And their password when they log in initially will be ABC123. If we click OK here and go in there under users this time, you'll see that's where he is, James Anderson. And you'll notice at your level you can edit, suspend, delete or move them. Now once you've got to this stage, you need to go back in and edit. So the person has been created, you've got all their details, but you'll notice now there's this extra option of qualifications, plans and portfolios. You need to click qualifications and select the qualifications that he can verify. So this is to ensure that he doesn't inadvertently verify any assessors or qualifications. He's not registered to do so. For the purpose of this exercise, we'll just select all, as this is a test site. Click Save. The links are updated and this verifier is now cleared to deliver, to verify those. If at some point you have a verifier that when he goes into his folder or goes in to verify some work for one of his assessors and he finds that it's not given him permission to do so, it is usually the case that the qualifications haven't been selected. And that is what usually is the issue with the verifier not being able to access or verify an assessor's learners' portfolios. Click OK. And that's IV is now created. Now we want to repeat the process for an assessor. So we go back to the initial one, click A, and the folder there, assessors, and again we repeat the process. We're going to select assessor, continue. Now the verifier we've created, so we just need to look for J. Anderson. You'll see it at the bottom. So the link is now being created. Same as before, password is ABC123. You don't have to use this, but for the purpose of this test site, that's what it is. Because as I said, they will have to change them as soon as they go in. Again, we're making sure that their personal home address is not used. It is actually the address of the centre. As we did before, no spaces for the phone number. They have to be completely with no spaces. There's their details filled out. And again, as the verifier, we're now going in to create their details regarding their role. As before, again, with the verifier, if I click Working Towards, it then wants to know who's going to be the secondary assessing for them. As you'll see, the other boxes now become accessible, and it's asking me which verifier, which assessor will be checking their assessment decisions. For the purpose of this, we're going to have them fully qualified, they work for the centre, and they're awarded. Registration. Again, these boxes should be filled out, but for the purpose of this, the only ones that need to get them live is to put in their actual qualifications and when they receive them. Now their sample rate is set to 100%. In this process here, you can actually decide now, as this is an experienced assessor, it's only going to be 10%. This part works in conjunction with the center configuration tool, which I'll go through in a separate video. As per the verifier, you now go and select which actions you want them to be able to complete on Skillsfile. So we've got the assessor and trainer role, but I also want them to be able to edit candidate details and the company contact details and the company. And then I'll just click Save. And we now know that the assessor's details are live and their name is Christensen J01. As with the verifier, once you click OK, you need to go back in, and there Jane is, edit, and go back down to where the qualification section is to select what qualifications they can deliver. Now, as the verifier, I selected all of them. But in this case, I want this verifier, this assessor can assess carpentry qualifications. So I just put in carpentry and search. It's now brought up the qualifications. So I'm going to say they can do all of these qualifications and click Save. And just go back, go to the bottom and click Save. This assessor has now been created, and it confirms there. In the next video, I'll show you regarding the learner. As I did mention at the start of the video, I'll show you how to move a learner. I'll actually do that in the next video. Thanks very much. Bye.